You can go on ahead and start.
Okay. Item 1 is the call to order of the regular meeting of the City of Pearland Planning and Zoning Commission, December 14th, 2020 at 7:29 p.m. All members are present. Moving on to item 2. Oh, I already did that. Sorry. All members are present. Okay, so moving on to item 3, consent agenda. We have 2 items. Is that 2 items or 2 items on the consent agenda? Approval of minutes and excused absence. Approval of the minutes from December 7th, 2020. Members are present. And excuse the absence of P&Z Commissioner Andrew Earles from the December 7th, 2020 regular meeting. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Motion for approval.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fuertes, second.
Okay, I've got a motion for approval from Commissioner Boswell and a second from Commissioner Fuertes. All those in favor signify by raising your digital hand. Commissioner Eisenberg, there's a little hand down at the bottom right of your screen. It literally looks like a little tiny hand right above the word participants.
You may not have that part of the screen up. That takes, you got to hit those little 3 dots at the bottom by the red X.
Oh.
And if you click that, you can do the participants. And at that point, you should be able to see at the bottom of that new screen that pops up on the right, the hand.
Well, I'm seeing it just gives me question and answer polling. Find device, audio devices, and settings.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I can just ask you.
Yeah, I say aye.
Okay, there we go. And 2. I think motion passed 7-0, Lawrence.
It may also be the little participants button.
All right. Okay, commissioners, y'all can lower your hands. Item 4 does not apply. Item 5, moving on to new business. Number A, consideration and possible action, variance from the 3-to-1 depth to width ratio, number VARP 20-00023. It's a request of Phillip Bourland of Bourland Land Surveying, the applicant, on behalf of Sam Adamo owners, for approval of a variance permitted in section 2.6.1.1B1 of the Unified Development Code, ordinance number 2000-T, from section 3.2.14.2C to allow the creation of 2 lots in excess of the 3-to-1 depth to width ratio. The general location is 1810 and 1820 Adamo Lane. Can I get a motion for approval?
Andrew Earles, so moved.
Thank you.
Ashley Boswell, second.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second on the floor, and can we get a staff report, please?
This is Vince Houston, city staff. This request is for approval of a variance from section 3.2.142C to allow the creation of 2 lots exceeding a 3-to-1 depth to width ratio located at 1810 and 1820 Adamo Lane. The purpose of this is to plat 2 lots. The intended use of the property is residential. Basically, these property had been replatted recently in the past, but they have they're changing the boundaries of the lot, which we will see later in a later slide. But this replat or this variance does meet the criteria for approval found in the UDC for planning and zoning variance. This slide shows the location of the applicant's property. and on the west side of Adamo Lane. The property is zoned SR12. And the final slide shows the configuration of the new boundary that the applicants wish to create between the two lots. Basically, they wanted to give an existing house extra space on the side yard to the north. Even though where one lot is gaining in width at the street frontage, another lot is gaining in width at the rear of the lot. So that explains the slight irregularity in the property line. This, in conclusion, the applicant will have to bring us a application for a residential replat if this variance is approved.
Thank you, Vince. Commissioners, does anyone have questions or comments?
Commissioner Fuertes here. Just an observation or a question. Are there other lots in that general vicinity that are this thin and long or that have been reduced in size?
These particular two lots had been recently replatted to create two long, thin lots. And also, this property had been gone through a variance process from the 3-to-1 depth to width ratio in the past, and had also gone through the replat process in the past. The lots in this neighborhood they're kind of characterized where they're larger lots, but they're really deep lots. They're big enough where an owner may have the desire to want to subdivide the lot, but they're such a shape that in order to do so, it almost always requires some sort of variance to either create a flag lot or a variance from the 3-to-1 depth to width ratio.
Perfect, thank you.
Commissioners, anybody else have questions or comments for staff? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and second on the table. All those in favor signify by raising your digital hand. Commissioner Eisenberg? Oh, he found his hand. Okay. Motion passes 7-0. You can lower your hand. Moving on to item B, consideration and possible action. Preliminary plat of Charleston Heights Detention Reserve Plat 20-00121. This is a request of the Miller Survey Group, the applicant on behalf of Charleston CMI LTD owner, for approval of the preliminary plat of Charleston Heights Detention Reserve on 25.240 acres of land located on the north of State Highway 6 in the east side of the Brazoria-Fort Bend County line. Can I get
developing between the city of Fairmont, ETJ, and the community of Arcola. This preliminary plat, it meets the criteria for approval of a preliminary plat found in the code conformance table. It also meets the criteria for approval found in the UDC for approval of a preliminary plat. Staff does recommend approval of the preliminary plat of the Charleston Heights Detention Reserve. This slide shows the location of the property in the city of Fairmont, ETJ. As you can see, it's a real long, narrow parcel of land where there's an existing detention reserve where you see the word site on the map. And then the next slide shows the configuration of the lot. It's so long and narrow that they had to divide the drawing in two to get it to fit on the sheet. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Vince. Isn't there an attendee here to speak to this? Mr. Hodges or Mr. Camarillo, one of y'all?
Yes, hello. This is Mark Hodges. I'm with Odyssey Engineering Group, the engineer for this development. And I don't have anything in particular to speak to this other than wanted to make myself available should there be any questions from the Planning Commission.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, do y'all have questions or comments for staff or for Mr. Hodges? Not hearing any, and I don't really have any. It's a odd shape, but it seems pretty straightforward. We have a motion and a second, so everybody signify your vote by raising your digital hand, please. All right, motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hodges.
Pardon me, Commissioner Cade, I just wanted to clarify for the purposes of the record. This time when you called for the vote, you said everybody signify your vote by raising your hand. And I think what you meant was everybody in favor raise your hand. Because they could have been raising their hand for another reason, even though I doubt it based on all the comments, by the lack of any comments on it.
Right. I'm sorry. You want me to call for it again?
Yeah, just in case somebody later reviews the tape and they have a question about it, I think it would make it clearer for us. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor signify by raising your digital hand. All right, lower your hand. Thank you. All those opposed?
Commissioner Dansby, we didn't see a vote from you, sir.
I'm sorry, I was a little slow on the uptick there. I vote for, please. Apologize.
Thank you. Okay, motion passes 7-0. Sorry about that.
And thank you, everybody, for your patience with my legalese.
Okay. All right, moving on to item C, consideration and possible action. This is a replat of Lot 5 of Hastings West, Plat 20-00120. This is a request of Christopher Trusky of the Land Survey Company, the applicant, on behalf of Renee Guzman, owner, for approval of the replat of Lot 5 of Hastings West, creating 2 lots on 5 acres of land. General location is, or no, the actual location is 18825 County Road 176 at Bowman Drive. Can I get a motion for approval, please?
So moved. Commissioner Dansby.
I was about to say, I think that's Commissioner Dansby. And a second?
Commissioner Fuertes, second.
Thank you. Staff report, please.
This is Vince Houston, city staff. The approval of the replat of Lot 5 Hastings West is to create 2 lots on 5 acres of land. Basically what they're doing is taking 1 lot and dividing it in half. It's located in the city of Perrin, ETJ, at 18825 County Road 176. The replat meets the criteria for approval found in the code conformance table. It also meets the criteria found in the UDC for a replat. The next slide shows the location of the applicant's property. It's located between Hastings Cannon Road and Bowman Drive. The final slide, or the next slide, shows how the property is being divided into half. We'll have a Lot 1 and Lot 2. Originally, this application came in as a minor application, but it became a residential replat when we discovered on the next slide that the property had been previously platted. And so now we are reviewing it as a residential replat, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Commissioners, any comments or questions?
Excuse me. excuse me, pardon me, Vince, did you say this was a residential replat?
Yes. I had confirmed with the applicant that they intend the property for residential uses. Even though it's not zoned and located in the city of Bourland ETJ.
Because the southern portion of the plat for the residential is within the city limits, or at least the part that touches Hastings Cannon Road, did we make sure we ran the review to make sure we followed all notice requirements for residential replats?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay. And then Commissioner Cade, with the residential replat, we would typically ask for public comment. But nobody signed up to speak to this. If we noticed everybody properly, nobody signed up to speak on it. So I didn't realize, or I'm sorry, it didn't snap somehow that this was a residential replat, and that's why I wanted to verify. And again, I thank everybody for their patience with me and making sure we complied with the notification properly.
Does it matter that it's not listed in the agenda for public comment? I'm just curious.
If somebody had actually sent in anything between Friday and today, we would have allowed them to speak. I would have told you if they wanted to speak that you have to allow them to speak. So I think we're fine on that.
Okay.
So we wouldn't stop anybody from speaking, especially because it is a residential replat.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And who was it that was, I've lost the attendee's name. Is Renee Guzman. Are you wanting to speak, or are you here for us to answer questions?
I was just wanting to be answer or to listen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guzman. Commissioners, does anyone have questions or comments for staff or for Mr. Guzman?
Commissioner Fortes here. I had a question just for Lawrence or Martin. Was there any kind of sign posting requirement because this is now a residential replat? Was there any kind of, the old Pearland request, that the sign that needs to be posted on the property? I guess what I'm trying to say. I just didn't want to get ahead of ourselves if that was the case.
Commissioner Fortes, to my understanding, the notification requirements for the residential replat don't have a sign component to the notification. It's more of a mail out than a sign. The signs is what you would see with the zone change in the conditional use permit.
Perfect. Thank you. No further comments.
Commissioners, anybody else? Comments or questions?
I just wanted to say that I confirmed in section 3.1.7.2, replats without vacation notice and hearing. It's only published notice for this particular issue, and it is not posting notice.
Okay, so do I need to call for public comment since we know there's nobody here?
No, ma'am. You don't need to do that because nobody signed up to speak after this was published in accordance with the UDC requirements.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, commissioners, does anybody else have questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and call. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your digital hand. Lawrence, I counted 7.
Yes, ma'am. I count the 7.
All right. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Guzman. Okay. So where were we? I think that moves us into discussion items. Commissioner's activity report. I'm happy to see Daryl Eisenberg here with us as our new commissioner. Well, our new, not really new, but returning commissioner. So Daryl, thank you for rejoining us. I don't really have any other activity report, just happy to have him. Anybody else?
Just echoing the same. This is Commissioner Fuertes. Welcome, Daryl.
I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. There's several on there that I already know, some that I've already served with, of course, Laney and Henry. And I'm just looking forward to being able to serve the citizens and go on from here. So I'll be glad when we can all do this in person again.
For sure. Martin, do you think that's going to happen in January or possibly?
Possibly. It's really dependent on how the numbers with the holidays end up and whether, you know, how the rollout of the vaccine works. But we'll certainly be in communication when we know something more affirmative rather than my personal conjecture.
I have antibodies if it makes you feel better. So I'm good. Anyway.
You might want to check with your doctor on that. The reinfection rate is going up.
Well, he did tell me to get the vaccine when it came out, so maybe you're right. All right. But I don't think I'm going to. It scares me. So anyway. Well, if anybody has activity report other than COVID conversation, jump in.
One thing, Lawrence, I just want to say thank you for your legalese. We appreciate it.
Yes, Lawrence, don't ever apologize for that. It's very helpful, and thank you.
Ditto.
All right, our next P&Z regular meeting is January 4th, 2021. So we won't talk again until after the holiday. So Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to all.
Thank y'all.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Y'all
Be
stay
safe.
Y'all,
Bye. Y'all too.
stay healthy, please.
Yes.
Guys.
All right, bye, y'all.
Thank you again.